I got a thermometer so I can see how cold it is here. And right now I just checked and it's just about a little bit under. It's like 59 degrees. Call it exactly 60 if you want. It's only, baby doesn't have a lot of. The marks are 2-degree marks. So, yeah, it's closer to 60 to 59 and it feels cold. So, mostly I just like to tease people in actually cold environments, but I used to live in cold environments, but I'm getting a weird frame of reference because this feels cold. I mean, I'm bundled up, and if I had my sweatshirt on, I'd be warm enough, but my fingers would be cold. I'm just not used to it like you get. I used to live in high school, I lived in Boulder, Colorado. Yeah, it got cold there. If I had a jacket on, it didn't matter how cold it is. I suppose my hands got numb, but you don't notice it. You just pump heat into it. It's like your metabolism. Jess. But anyway, I was going to talk about, real briefly, about Maslux. And he made some comments, and it was a good point. But since he says he believes that ridicule is the proper response when you think somebody is fooling themselves, I'm going to ridicule. So yeah. Get ready. Not really. Can't be bothered. But he was trying to use the cube. See, things have inherent properties. I was talking about how if certain configurations of the cube tell me that it has been taken apart and put back together wrong because there's impossible configurations. And he was like, see, there's such a thing as an impossible configuration. That means there's an inherent property. Possible configurations inherent to the cube. Except for the funny part is that you can actually have these so-called impossible configurations. It just means you violated the idealization of the cube. You've taken the little blocks apart and put them together different. Most people would still call it a Rubik's Cube, and there is no fundamental answer to, is it really? Because it's not an inherent property, it's being the cube. It's a bunch of plastic. It can be considered a cube for sure when it's in, a configuration that maps to an ideal one. But you forget that in the real world, what I was calling, because of our conventions, impossible configurations, or whatever words I used, they're actually possible. Impossible is just our way of saying not allowed. You see, and that's the important discovery. They're not really not possible. Contradictions, all kinds of things that we're told are not possible by logic, are possible. I just thought you were getting a little snipey back and forth with Barklord, and I decided to say something to you. You know why? Because you would say, oh, because you like Barklord. Whatever, I do like Barklord. But maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's the reason I like him is for some reason. But it doesn't matter. I just decided it could have been either. Because you've sniped at me and just gotten on, I don't really think that you are that way, because then I see you having other comments. It's just, you get in that mode. So I figured I'd give it a try. Hey, ting ting, let's turn off the light bulb and go back to just, it's interesting to be able to share your opinion mode for a bit. I mean, I like that people get passionate, but whatever. Anyway, when I said that to you, you went off on these tangents, right? About various things. And now I don't know if those are things you're really interested in, or if it was just defensiveness, because like it didn't really matter. It wasn't a big deal. But the thing in there was that, it's like, what was it you were asking? It's on the tip of my mind. Why do people accept illogical ideas? And I just answer matter-of-factly pretty much that I think, cognitive science understands that. It's because we think in terms of frames from the body. It doesn't matter if it's analytically correct, evolutionarily, except for to say that maybe that's the tip of the cutting edge of evolution. But I mean, the millions and millions of years of evolution, the brain is evolving to run the body, and now with analytics has nothing but body metaphors to use. And so-called logically valid arguments are just a subset of the superset of logic. Personally, I like going back in what logic means to include any processing of ideas, right? Any processing of ideas, including illogic, that's why I consider it possible then to say that, well, that's why logicians study fallacies. Because fallacies are a part of logic. Yeah, they're an invalid part, but invalid doesn't mean you don't write them down in your encyclopedias to remember them. It doesn't mean studying them's invalid. It doesn't, people are just kind of simple-minded like that, but not necessarily you, Maslows. I'm just off on my own tangent now. But the point is that with a physical thing called a Rubik's Cube, I can put it in so-called impossible configurations. Okay, so that's why I say the material world is a superset of these idealized worlds. Okay, cheers.